This is just the beginning.
Welcome to Now You See It. Movie sequels are impossible to predict. Some become classics and some become the most hated movies of all time. So what makes a sequel good, and why do sequels have such a hard time not sucking?
Do the same thing as last time. Everyone's happy.
Let's compare similar sequels to see what works and what doesn't. One of the biggest obstacles with a great sequel is that you have to do something new. Maybe the first movie worked great, but the sequel can't be the same thing or it'll suck. The sequels that we all love mix it up and surprise us. The first Terminator features Arnold Schwarzenegger as the villain, and he's such a terrifying villain because he's not even human. He's a robotic monster whose only objective is to kill Sarah Connor. A lazy, unsurprising sequel would put us in the same world with the Terminator trying to kill again, but James Cameron surprises us, and in a spectacular twist, Arnold is actually sent to protect John Connor from another, more powerful Terminator.
Get down.
Now that's a great sequel. And then there's Speed. The first Speed is about a cop who tries to rescue civilians from a bus rigged to explode if any of the civilians try to get off or the bus slows down. It's action-packed and suspenseful from start to finish. The sequel, Speed 2, has the same general idea, but the bus is now a luxury cruise ship. The surprise is amazingly lame. A slow-moving cruise ship is way less thrilling than the fast-moving bus in the first Speed. The surprise isn't a surprise, it's a letdown. Sequels also need to build. They need to add something, and what they add has to be good. 22 Jump Street has the same general plot as 21 Jump Street. The only real difference between the two films is that one takes place in high school and the other in college. But the second film adds a whole gag about the movie itself. They constantly make references to how doing the same thing over and over again will not lead to the same results.
It's always worse the second time around.
They're making fun of the fact that sequels never work. They build on 21 Jump Street by now making fun of themselves. It's clever, original, unique, and hilarious.
I can't believe the Koreans brought their church back.
Yeah, I mean, good thing there was an even bigger abandoned church directly across the street.
Yeah, that's convenient.
Yes, it is convenient.
The Hangover Part 2 tries to build on the original. Instead of taking place in Las Vegas, the sequel is in the much more exotic Thailand. But that's really the only addition to the original. There's nothing new here. There's no build.
I can't believe this is happening again.
An inherent problem with feature-length film is that the amount of possible character development is limited to the hour-and-a-half length of the movie. So in a medium like television, we can see so many complex changes in a character over the course of several seasons, whereas a movie can show maybe one or two major changes. With a sequel, though, we have a chance to see characters we love in the original grow even more. I think any sequel that doesn't take advantage of this opportunity for more character growth is a disappointment. Toy Story, for example, shows us a whole new character arc for Woody in the sequel. In the first film, Woody makes the realization that getting the most attention isn't what's important.
It doesn't matter how much we're played with. What matters is that we're here for Andy when he needs us.
And then, in the sequel, Woody has another realization that while his time with Andy is temporary, he would rather spend his limited time making Andy happy over being displayed in a museum.
You're right, Prospector. I can't stop Andy from growing up. But I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Through the sequel, we get further insight into Woody and his dedication to Andy. We learn more about Woody's goals, his fears, and his obstacles. The sequel added just as much depth to the main character as the first film, which, in the end, is what turns sequels into classics. We can see this added depth to characters in other great sequels like The Godfather Part 2 with Michael Corleone and The Dark Knight with Bruce Wayne. When we compare these sequels to something like Cars 2 and the Hobbit franchise, we see another way movie sequels can suck. Cars 2 doesn't show any change to the characters from the original, and even with almost 8 hours of screen time for the Hobbit series, we see hardly any character depth in most of the ensemble cast. I have to commend the Marvel Cinematic Universe for knowing how to make great sequels. You can tell from their consistent continuity, writing style, crossovers, and brand marketing that Disney isn't making sequels just for one-time cash grabs. Disney is attempting to make very long-term profit by creating a lasting franchise and brand, and it seems to be working. Their sequels surprise, build, and add character depth. Think about the Avengers. We get loads of surprises when our favorite superheroes fight it out, build on plots from previous films, and we see tons of character depth by seeing the conflict of interest between each superhero. I'm not saying Marvel movies are the greatest movies of all time, but what I am saying is that Marvel knows how to make sequels, and that's saying a lot given the countless disappointments we've seen in sequels. Making a good sequel to a great original is definitely a challenge, but I think a big problem with sequels is that a lot of the time the studio doesn't really care if a sequel is well reviewed. With a successful original, as long as a sequel is okay, it's almost guaranteed to make a profit for the studio. Remember that despite all the hate towards sequels like Cars 2, The Hangover Part 2, and the Star Wars prequels, they grossed more than their original films. Sequels create an interesting paradox in the film industry. To be successful, a film normally has to show something unique, like great special effects, acting, or plot, but a sequel can make a profit only by having a recognizable name and providing nothing unique. So do Hollywood a favor and stop going to sequels that suck.
God willing, we'll all meet again in Spaceballs 2.
to search for more money.
Thanks for watching.